Why don't we start by getting a cozy blanket and having a deep breath and just letting today be done? Remember? In through your nose, fill up your belly, hold it, then let it all go. Here we go. Hold it. Hold it. Are you still holding it? Let the day be done. Tonight we're going to read Kenny's Window by Maurice Sendak. In the middle of a dream, Kenny woke up, and he remembered a garden. I saw the garden in my dream, thought Kenny, and a tree. There was a tree covered white with blossoms, and above the tree shone the sun and the moon side by side. Half the garden was filled with yellow morning, and the other with dark green night. There was something else in my dream, thought Kenny, and he tried to remember. A train, he cried, and a rooster with 4 feet, and he gave me something. There was a train puffing its way through the garden, and in the caboose sat a rooster with 4 feet, and he gave Kenny a piece of paper. Here, said the rooster, are 7 questions, and you must find all the answers. If I do, asked Kenny, may I come and live in the garden? But before the rooster could answer, the dream ended. Kenny sat on the edge of his bed and thought about the dream. It would be nice to live in such a garden. In the morning, I could sit in the nighttime half of the garden and count the stars. And at night, I could play in the morning time half of the garden, and I'd never have to go to sleep. I'll find the answers to the 7 questions and... The questions! He shouted. I left them in the dream. Kenny shut his eyes. I'll go back, he thought, and find them. He turned over on his side, and something crackled in his pajama pocket. It was a piece of paper. Kenny pulled it out of his pocket. The 7 questions, he whispered. I had them all the time. Chapter 1. Can you draw a picture on the blackboard when somebody doesn't want you to? I'm going to draw a picture on my blackboard, said Kenny one morning, and I'll call it a dream. He picked up a piece of yellow chalk and began to draw. No, cried an angry voice. You cannot draw on the blackboard today. Why not? Asked Kenny. Because, said the voice. Kenny looked under the bed, and there he found his teddy bear, sitting in the dark. What are you doing down there, Bucky? Bucky was Kenny's oldest and best friend, and he slept with him every night, and he had only one glass eye. You left me here all night, said Bucky. I must have forgotten, said Kenny. I'm sorry. You never forgot before, grumbled Bucky. Do you want to come out now? Asked Kenny. And watch me draw a picture? No, I won't come out, and you cannot draw a picture. Kenny walked slowly up to the window, scraping his feet along the floor. What's the matter? Asked one of the lead soldiers standing on the window ledge. Bucky up to his old tricks? Last night, said Kenny, I forgot and didn't take him to bed with me. Is he very angry? Asked the second lead soldier. Kenny's mouth began to tremble. He won't even let me draw a picture on the blackboard. Don't worry, said the second lead soldier. We'll think of something. Kenny waited hopefully. I have an idea, shouted the first lead soldier. Write him a poem about how nice he is. Good, said Kenny, and he found a pencil and a piece of paper and started to think. How do you write a poem? He asked. You think of a nice word, said the first lead soldier, and rhyme it with a lot of other nice words until you come to the end. Like bear scare? Asked Kenny. That's not very nice, said the first lead soldier. So Kenny thought some more, and after a lot of scratching out and erasing, he finished the poem. He said, "Thank you very much," to the soldiers, and went back to Bucky. Kenny poked his head under the bed and began to read. For Bucky. Bucky is my teddy bear. He has short and curly hair, and on a bus he pays no fare. He lost one eye, but I don't care. I love my Bucky teddy bear. The end by Kenny. Bucky didn't say a word, but Kenny felt that everything was now all right. He carefully pulled Bucky out from under the bed and laid him down on the pillow. Then he covered him with a blanket. Watch me, Bucky, whispered Kenny, and he walked, lifting his feet up high to the blackboard. He picked up a piece of yellow chalk and drew a picture of Bucky sitting on the back of a rooster with 4 feet. Kenny turned back to Bucky and said, "Do you know what you say to the rooster?" Bucky didn't answer. "You say," continued Kenny, "'Can I have a ride on your back, rooster, because you have 4 feet and can run very fast?' And the rooster answers, 'Of course, Bucky, and when you are on my back and I am running like the wind, you can tell me stories that only you know.'" Bucky looked as though he was sleeping, but Kenny knew that he heard every word. Chapter 2. What is an only goat? Kenny left a note on the kitchen table. It said, "Dear Mama, I'm going to Switzerland. Back soon, Kenny." The valleys of Switzerland were deep in wildflowers, and the mountains peeked out through the mist. Kenny bought a ticket and took a seat in a little train that climbed straight up the side of a mountain. "Look," said a man, pointing out of the train window, "a waterfall." Everybody looked and said surprised things and took snapshots, click, click. But Kenny didn't look. He waited. "Look, Mama," said a little girl with yellow hair. "Snow." "Ah," said everybody. Click, click, click. Snow is very pretty, thought Kenny, but it is not what I came to see. And he didn't look. When the little train came to the top of the mountain, Kenny bought a chocolate bar and went out to look for a goat. He stood in a little patch of snow and looked down into the misty valley. He listened to the faraway bells that echoed softly against the grassy thick mountain walls. "How beautiful," thought Kenny. "But," and he sighed, "they are only cow bells, and I am looking for a goat." Kenny stepped carefully down the mountain, picking, along the way, a bouquet of wildflowers, yellow trolls, blue geraniums, and pink mountain roses. The path became less steep, and the air smelled strong of animals. Kenny wrinkled his nose. He soon came to a village that had only 4 houses and a great deal of mud. "My goat cannot live here," said Kenny, burying his nose in the bouquet of wildflowers. He was about to turn back when, from behind one of the houses, stepped a little white-bearded animal. "A goat!" cried Kenny, and he arranged the wildflowers to look as pretty as they could. Then he patted down his hair, straightened his tie, and scratched some mud off his new brown shoes. The white goat watched Kenny, her little jaw swinging sideways as she chewed on some grass. Kenny stood as straight as he could and said in a loud voice, I have come all the way from America to make you my only goat. The white goat stepped closer, eyeing the bouquet of flowers in Kenny's hand. These are for you, said Kenny, and he held out the flowers for the goat to smell. My favorite kind, said the white goat. Thank you. And she nibbled at the yellow trolls. What is an only goat? She asked. An only goat, said Kenny, is the goat that I love. How do you love me? Asked the goat. I love you better than the waterfall, said Kenny, and the snowy mountains, and even the cowbells. Ah, sighed the white goat, and she gobbled up the blue geraniums. When will you stop loving me? She asked. Bits of blue geranium spotted her white beard. Never, said Kenny. Never, said the white goat, is a very long time. And she sniffed at the pink mountain roses. Will you feed me yellow trolls, blue geraniums, and pink mountain roses in America? No, Kenny answered, but there are buttercups and black-eyed Susans in my backyard. Can I stand on a mountaintop in America and listen to the cowbells? No, Kenny answered, but you can sit on the roof of my house and listen to the beep beep of the automobiles as they go rushing by. Can I lie in the mud in America? No, Kenny answered. My goat must be pretty and clean and wear a silver bell around her neck. The white goat looked sadly up at Kenny. An only goat is a lonely goat, she said. But we will play together, cried Kenny, and tell each other funny stories. I don't know any funny stories, said the white goat. Not even one? No, said the goat. Then perhaps, began Kenny. Perhaps what? Asked the white goat. You are not my only goat, he finished sadly. Kenny took the chocolate bar from his pocket. This is for you, he said. My favorite candy, said the goat, gobbling it up in one bite. And I hope you find your only goat. Thank you, said Kenny, and he went back up the mountain. He bought a ticket and took a seat on the little train that went straight down the side of the mountain. From the window he saw the lovely white snow, and his heart beat fast. He saw the great tumbling waterfall, and he was filled with a happy longing to be home. When the train came to the station, Kenny sent a telegram. It said, Dear Mama, coming home, your only boy, Kenny. Chapter 3. Can you see a horse on the roof? There's a horse on the roof, said Kenny, waking up in the middle of the night. And I won't tell Mama or Papa. They would say it was a dream, or what nonsense, or some such thing, and of course they wouldn't go up and see for themselves. The horse on the roof is a hungry horse, because there is no more grass in the meadow. He won't eat the shingles on the roof, because horses do not like eating shingles. He won't eat me, because I am his friend. I think he'd like to eat my cousin Harry, but he is at Grandma's house, and his sister Barbara cries too much. The horse on the roof is a lonely horse, because it is night time. So he came to our house to sit on the roof. He makes a lot of noise, but nobody can hear him. And he is looking at the stars. The stars make a light that you can see by, and he is stamping on the roof, and steam is coming from his nose. He is dancing on the roof, and the stars make a light all over him. He is stamping and snorting on the roof, and he is whinnying. The stars make him shiny and like velvet. The horse on the roof is laughing because he knows a funny story. He makes me laugh. He tells me a funny story, and I tell him one. The horse on the roof makes a silly face, and I make one back. He says, "I must go home now. It is very late." "When will you come back?" I ask. He answers, "Whenever you want me to." The horse on the roof has gone back to the meadow where there is no more grass. I won't tell Mama or Papa. They'd say it was a dream. They don't know how to listen in the night. We'll stop there for tonight. Remember, you are perfect, just the way you are. You're made exactly how you're supposed to be. So have the best dreams. And go be awesome tomorrow. Good night.